West winds 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts up to 40 miles per hour, diminishing to 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts up to 30 miles per hour after midnight. Sunday, sunny. Areas of smoke in the afternoon. Very windy. High 75 to 85. Southwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour, increasing to 25 to 35 miles per hour in the afternoon.
It's officially the first day of summer. The longest day of the year, and a day that is best spent outside. Natalia and I are headed into the high Colorado trails. We've constantly been on the move since I finished up the major work on this Tacoma, and we wanted a weekend of low effort, minimal obligation camping. Due to the forecasted wind advisory, if it weren't for the summer solstice, we would have stayed out of the high country this weekend. We felt obligated to be outside, and it also gives us an opportunity to test the new camper in less than ideal conditions. The nice thing about a new build is that everything feels like a big adventure. And while I will be getting this thing into some aggressive trails soon, for right now, just bumping down a dirt road is incredibly satisfying. Today's biggest challenge is the best that anyone could ask for. And that is deciding on which view we want to watch the sun set on. Do we choose the red textured rock to the north? Or the distant snow-capped mountain range to the south? Beautiful views in the coverage of the trees, or incredible views while being exposed to the wind? But before we plant roots for the night, there's one thing that I want to go check out. And that is a private observatory that I've heard rumors about. It's no secret that I'm a little obsessed with the night sky. So when I heard about something like this potentially being hidden down a trail, of course, we had to go take a look.
Okay, so obviously we made it to our destination, and from what I'd seen, people were saying that this was a privately owned observatory. That is definitely not the case. This is some sort of a radar system. It doesn't have any shifting areas to where a telescope could look through it, and it even says this is built for the FAA, and basically going inside and damaging anything could put people's lives in risk. So this is for the local airport. Still super cool to see. This is the kind of construction that I would imagine on some alien planet. It's just cool looking. I was thinking about it on the way up here because I was like, why would somebody put an observatory near an airport? Because ideally you wouldn't want to have a bunch of light, and there's a city over here, a small city, and then planes flying everywhere. So that didn't make total sense, but this makes a lot more sense because there is an airport very close. So today is the first day of summer. The longest day of the year. We're gonna have sunlight tonight until like 9:30. But what's surprising to a lot of people, there's big snow mounds all around us right now. A lot of the major trails that you've heard of in Colorado are still closed. Colorado is really best visited, I think, for the purpose of four-wheel drive, mid to late June, depending on the year, and all the way up until like the end of August. September's pretty too, but you stop seeing as much green. So we already crossed over some of the campgrounds and took a brief look at them, but we need to go down and make a decision. I'm looking forward to just hanging out at camp tonight. We've been on a bunch of trips recently where we're just on the move. So we're gonna head down the trail, set up camp, and we're gonna have some of the best views ever tonight. And it's cool because this mountain range is where we live, and it's kind of hard usually to find views like this of these mountains.
I've heard about this structure hiding up here for years now, so it's cool to finally see it. But I will admit that it being something other than an observatory is a little disappointing. It looks like I'll just have to do some capturing of the stars on my own. We decided on a campsite that we saw that faces the north because it's one of the few that's shielded by the trees. But just when we thought we found tonight's peaceful, wind-resistant campsite, another group decided to roll in and walked around our intended campsite without even acknowledging us. Their coolers are open, their radios are blaring. It's obvious that they're not leaving anytime soon. At the end of the day, this is public land. So it looks like our campsite search continues. This video is sponsored by OnX Off-Road. Throughout the week, I can easily plan a route on desktop, tablet, or my phone. As long as I'm connected to Wi-Fi, it'll sync up across all of my devices, and then it's ready to use on CarPlay. OnX Off-Road is how I find all of the incredible campsites that you see in my videos, and you can easily find some secret spots of your own. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to give OnX Off-Road a shot. There was another campsite we spotted earlier in the day that looked beautiful, but it left us pretty exposed to the wind. But this late in the day, we don't have many choices left. So it looks like we'll be testing the wind shedding of the camper even more than expected.
We just chose to deal with the wind because we have this whole mountainscape behind us. We've got Capitol Peak, Mount Sopris, and then
Snowmass, Buttermilk, Highlands. We can literally see the entire valley right now.
it's pretty hard to find an area around here, or I mean, other than this, and we didn't really know this was here until now, but we've never camped in an area where we could overlook this entire mountainscape. So it's really neat to be able to see it, just seeing our own home territory from afar.
It's absolutely beautiful. And we're hoping that the sunset just lights all that up with some nice alpine glow.
Yeah, and then the stars tonight are gonna be epic. And then I'm gonna do some glassing of the hillsides. I wanna see if there's any animals moving around.
And we're hoping to see the aurora borealis.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Hopefully the wind calms down a little bit as we go on with the evening, but we'll see what happens. Now that we've finally found our home for the night, I can do some glassing of the mountainsides. I've spent my fair share of time doing this with elk, but for right now, I'm looking for something else entirely. So it's hard enough to find an elk whenever you want to see them. And with wolves, I don't know how that's going to work. I guess because they're predators, maybe they won't be as timid as some of those other animals are. But it'll be like a needle in a haystack. It's going to be a tricky one. I might have to go north where the populations are assumed to be higher. But it is crazy to think that there's a new animal out here in the mountains. In mountains that I've spent a tremendous amount of time in for the last 14 years. And now there's a new predator out here. This is arguably the most beautiful time of the year in Colorado. The wildflowers are just beginning to take over the mountainsides. Even though we're experiencing a drought, the snowmelt gives them what they need to thrive. So far, we're not seeing much as far as the aurora borealis, but I believe tomorrow, Sunday, is supposed to be the big day for that activity. But there'll be some that's hitting the earth today. It just might not be that visible. And you guys are gonna hear me talk about it from time to time. And one of these days, I'm gonna capture it. Maybe the stars will align at some point. I'll be able to drive out to a place when I know it's gonna be a big activity night or something like that, to like a different state. But for the time being,
I'm just like most of us, and that's just hoping for the best in where I'm at. But I'm gonna set up the camera and see if I can capture anything. Not much sign of a solar storm in the sky tonight. It's mostly peaceful. But down here on the surface is a different story.
So we had to hightail it out of our campsite because it is so crazy windy. We heard all night long that there were huge gusts that were like hitting the side of the camper, and the camper held up like a champion. I had no concerns with this thing, you know, getting any damage or anything like that. But there were a couple gusts this morning that woke us up, and it was just kind of like a jarring feeling, and you can hear it. And then there's no way we're gonna be able to film, to make breakfast, and just do normal things. So we came down the mountain, and now we're hiding in the trees. And it's still really windy around us, as you can probably hear, but it's not unmanageable. So that's what we get for camping in an open spot like that. We knew there's gonna be high wind.
Going to the high country during a wind advisory isn't exactly a wise thing to do. However, it was nice to take this truck out on a simple camping trip, to appreciate the fresh bloom of wildflowers, and of course, to get our very senior pup outside. While it was nice to have a low-key camping weekend, summer leaves no time to waste. We've got some cool places to see in the coming months, and I have a feeling that those places are going to make for some exciting stories. As always, thank you so much for watching, and click one of the videos in the corner to check out more of our adventure, off-road, and overland related content.